Welcome to our clarity and focus session here at Consulting Unleashed. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is getting paid for my time. We're going to talk to you about how you can get paid for your time in advance, as opposed to giving away free strategies. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what that looks like, how that works. I'm going to share with you how some of my champions right now are getting paid up to $15,000 to have a conversation, a strategy, not to do implementation, not to deliver, but to actually paid in advance to strategy, right? Some of our people are getting paid anywhere between $2,000 up to 15 grand to actually pitch their idea, right? So that's a pretty cool thing to do. That's what we're going to be learning about today as part of our training. Just want to know, just so I make sure, if you can just type in, remember a lot of our sessions here are interactive. I just want to make sure that you are seeing me okay and hearing me okay. Anybody here charge somebody for a strategy session? Anybody on this call right now, just type 1 if you've charged someone. Type 2 if you want to charge someone for your strategy session. 1 if you ever have, 2 if you'd like to, right? Monique says, yeah, I want to get paid for advance. Yeah, right. Who here wants to get paid for your time before you actually sell? Right, this is getting paid in advance. Just want to know that. So everybody says, I do. Yep. Yep. Awesome. Yep. Okay. Great. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do this. Exactly how my consulting champions are getting paid up to $15,000 and more. I've charged $25,000 for a strategy session. In fact, I took that one step further. I charged 50 grand for a strategy session. When I worked in corporate, the company that I worked with, we used to charge people up to $100,000 for a strategy session. And people used to happily pay that, right? So we're not going to do $100,000 strategy sessions. The idea is to make sure that you have value for your time. And at the end of this presentation, I'm just going to show you a really simple idea. I kind of set it up so you can actually see it, and you can actually do this yourself. You can set this and apply yourself and run with it for your business. So every single person here and anybody watching this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you set yourself up to be paid whatever you want to be paid for strategy, right? For a strategy session. Right? And that is a conversation where a client pays you for your expertise, your knowledge and ideas. And then from there, the next step is to hire you for a bigger implementation and project. So I'm going to walk you through what the sales flow looks like. I'm going to walk you through some of the things you can do to actually build the value in the strategy session. I'm going to share with you a really cool technique that shows a risk reversal or give people a no-brainer offer to actually pay you for your strategy session. And so at the end of the day, you should be paid for your expertise and your time. So I'm going to share my screen here. Where are we doing? We're getting into our slide deck. Okay, so you should all be seeing my slides right now. Getting paid for a strategy sessions. This is the #1 thing that we all want to make sure we get paid for our time and expertise. The cool thing that getting paid for your time means that you are actually valuing yourself, and at the same time, a client who's committing money to you also values you, and so they're going to actually show up for you, right? So let's get into it. Just to give you an idea, this is happening. Headley here in April, 7 $5,000 strategy packages sold 7. That's $35,000 cash in April, paid in advance for a strategy session. From that $35,000, that will turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of client engagement, right? We have Tina here who got a new client strategy for $15,000. Charge $15,000 to do a strategy session for a client, not to do execution, not to do implementation, not to manage the project, right? A strategy session. We got Patrick here yesterday, got a signed agreement for a $117,000 deal, right? I just wanted to share that with you. 20 locations, 3 months. Now, this company has this company has 50 locations. So what Patrick has been engaged to do is to get 20 locations up and running with his strategy. It works out at $5,000 per clinic over a 3-month period, which is pretty cool. That's management only. This 117K is management. That's what he gets paid, right? And he started the deal on the 20th of April and he closed the deal on the 20th of May. It took a month, 4 weeks to close a $100,000 cash deal. Who'd like to know how to do that, right? Doing Facebook ads, right, in the market, okay? So just to share with you, I just want to give you evidence, more evidence of how this works. So here's Vlad. Now, when Vlad started with me in Consulting Champions, he had never sold anything. In fact, he'd been building funnels for people for free on the proviso that when they launched the funnel, then he would get a percentage of sales. So he would like a 20%, 30% bump on sales, but he would give the funnel for free. The cool thing about Vlad is he built amazing funnels. I've seen the funnels and they were freaking amazing, right? Very deep, very structured, lots of filtering, high quality converting funnels. The problem is the clients took the free funnel, but never launched the ad campaign. They never realized. So Vlad would be doing all this free work to try and get clients and not actually land a deal. So when Vlad came to me and I said to Vlad, I said, listen, if you start with me, it is a rule number one in your business is we never do anything for free ever again. No free anything. No free. We only get paid. Right? So this was his progression of getting paid because this happened in a really short space of time, right? So his first paid strategy session that he offered was $1,215. By the way, this turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of client engagements. His first paid strategy session was $1,215. Then he got a paid strategy session for $5,445. That was a blueprint. Then he dropped to $1,055, but then he went to $6,500, $5,000, $2,500, $6,500, and then he got up to $7,500. In fact, after this email, he then decided to charge people $10,000, and he started getting $10,000 for a strategy session. And here he sent me this email on a Saturday night saying, hey, I just got another $7,500 strategy session at 10:30 p.m. They paid the money in my bank account. This happened when he was at an event that I was holding in New York City, and he literally showed the evidence by applying a campaign in real time in the event, which is what we're going to be doing at the Blitz Intensive in a couple of days' time. Whilst he was at the event, he applied this strategy within 24 hours, had banked $25,000 in his bank account, which he showed to the audience by just sending out an email offering strategy sessions. $25,000 cash in bank in 24 hours. By offering strategy sessions, right? So this is showing you people in the agency world like us, right? That people are paying you for your time. People are willing to pay you a significant amount of money for your expertise, your knowledge, and your time. The thing that we've all learned is to give all our stuff away for free, right? We've gone free strategy session, free consultation. What's a free consultation worth? Nothing. Because if you don't act on what is being delivered to you in that consultation, that time has been wasted. If somebody sits down with you to listen to your sales pitch, and your sales pitch is about helping them get the result and get the outcomes they're looking for, and they don't buy what you have to offer, they have wasted their time and you've wasted your time, right? So when somebody pays, somebody values it. If I have to pay for somebody's time, somebody values it, right, in the process. So understand. So if you wouldn't buy it, they won't either. If you wouldn't buy a strategy session, your clients wouldn't buy a strategy session either, right? But here's the thing, if you don't offer it, they can't buy it. If you don't offer a paid strategy session, they can't buy the paid strategy session, right? It's pretty simple, right? So one of your line items that you can sell is you can sell a strategy session, an implementation, a planning session, a blueprinting session, right? In what you're doing, right? So who gets paid for advice in advance? Let's have a look who gets paid. Accountants get paid to create business and strategy plans. In fact, accountants get paid tens of thousands of dollars, up to hundreds of thousands of dollars to devise strategy for their business clients, right? They get paid and people are happy to pay it, right? Professional consultants get paid for gap analysis and strategic planning, right? A consultant knows. In my early days as a consultant for a very multinational, large consulting firm in the United States, in New York City, I spent 3 years of my life and spilled a lot of blood on the floor, right? We would charge, our starting price on a strategy session was $50,000. $50,000 for a strategy session. Now, a paid strategy session of $50,000 will turn into a multi-million-dollar agreement and contract. So in that strategy session, we used to do this thing called a gap analysis. Let's figure out all the things that are broken, all the things that need to be fixed, all the areas that need to be addressed. And then we would create a priority line item list. And on average, to fix each line item would be $250,000 to $1 million per line item. And we would have to come up with 24 line items. So the engagement was going to be millions of dollars. That's why the company I worked with was a $20 billion firm, $20 billion. And they sold consulting, right? They sold ideas and problem solving. That's what they sold. That's what they get paid for. Now, I didn't make them $20 billion, right? I was a vehicle in their business, right? They would charge me out, right? So I understand professional consultants get paid for their time. Engineers get paid for auditing and assessment, right? Specialist doctors get paid for their consultations, right? Dentists get paid for their, you do a all on four, an Invisalign, or if you do an implant thing, you're going to pay the doctor for his time, right? You don't get to do that for free, right? You're going to have to pay for the assessment, okay? Marketing, ad agencies, research companies, PR firms all get paid for their advice. I see somebody's chit-chatting here. Yes, absolutely, James, exactly, right? So understand that people do value what they have to offer, right? As you should. So let's get to the next slide. So wasting time and taking too long to get to the sale. This is what happens in wasting time and how much time, effort, money it costs you, okay? So lead gen offer, free consultation. Discovery call, you spend time doing the discovery call, answering questions, all that sort of stuff. That's time, right? Then you spend time doing proposal, right? Then maybe you get to present the proposal, right? Rather than just deliver it, you get to present it, actually share, ask the question, do the pitch, right? Then you send the proposal and cross your fingers, right? You might follow up haphazardly, weeks turn into months, and then you forget about the deal, right? And so tons of hours are involved in this process that you don't get paid for, right? Hours and hours of your time, energy, and effort, not to actually make any money. Your expertise, your knowledge, right? You have to own your value, right? So let's do the numbers. Average time invested in the sales process is 4 to 7 hours. So if you do 10 strategy sessions, that's 40 to 70 hours that you're going to invest, right? In your time for free to maybe close one deal, 1 or 2 deals, to maybe, not actually, but maybe. So that's a lot of hours for no pay, right? That is a dumb business model, terrible business model, right? So how can you help, right? There are 2 things a pilot needs to be able to fly a plane effectively. Who knows what those 2 things are? What does a pilot need to know when they hop into a plane to fly, to get to a destination? What do they know? Can anybody answer the question? What are the 2 things they know? What do you think they are? What are the 2 things that pilots have to know, right? They don't need a checklist, no. Exactly, Chris, where they are and where they're going to go. They need 2 pieces. Where are we at right now and where are we going to go? What marketing agencies do and what we do is we forget about where we are now. We just go straight to where we want to go. But if we don't fix, maybe there's some problems that we are unaware of, that we go in and put the strategy into place and go where we want to go, and the strategy doesn't work. Because guess why? They don't follow up their leads. They don't pick up the phone and call people. They don't actually value what you do in the marketplace. And so you've got this idea and you're getting a whole bunch of leads, but because you didn't understand their sales process or how they handle a lead, right? This idea, although it adds value and can help the business, will actually hurt the business because they're going to spend a whole bunch of money and not get a result. So this is what we do. A lot of agencies fall into this trap of going, hey, let's plug in the solution. But before we plug in the solution, we need to understand what's going on. Because if we want to make that solution work really well and get a great outcome, we need to know where we're starting from in this process, right? That's what we need to do, right? So where we're starting from, where we're going to. And this is your opportunity for strategy to get paid for that strategy, right? That's the piece in the puzzle, okay? So next. Before you can help anybody in business, you need to understand where they are coming from first before you can help them with where they want to go. If you do not understand a business, it's going to be very hard for you to help a business. If you don't understand, if you're in the business of lead generation, the questions you've got to ask around, well, how do you acquire customers now? What is a customer worth to you? How much money are you spending on buying a customer? How much money are you willing to spend on buying a customer? What is the average sale per customer? What is your sales process? What is the buyer's journey of how they buy what you have to offer? What are the triggering points that do that? What are the best offers you've ever run before, so that we can actually build a framework around getting that out to the marketplace? What product categories will generate the most profit for you right now, so that you can focus on the highly profitable categories rather than the low profit categories, right? And these are only a handful of questions that I would ask to understand where a business is going. And I want to know how they acquire their customers, how they maximize and optimize their revenue opportunities per customer, and how they keep the customer buying forever, or how they generate referrals. I want to know what they do in each 3 categories. And then I want to know in between, from 100 leads, conversion to opportunity to have a conversation, conversion to present and sale. I want to know all those numbers, right? All those things. Somebody's chit-chatting here in the chat. Let's just see what they're saying. What questions you ask for lead conversions for reignition? So, Mark, I've just given you a series of questions. Listen to the questions that I've just answered. These are the things that I would ask, right? If you join Consulting Champions, we actually have 4 different product categories where you can actually, we call this thing called a profit builder. We take people through an analysis, and very quickly it shows the business where they impact or where they fail and where they automatically need your help. And so we do that in Champions. So if you want to know, then you need to join Champions, right? But here, you need to ask some rudimentary questions to understand where the business is going from, right? So at the end, coming from, where they want to go to. You need to understand, right? You need to understand what's going on in the industry. You need to understand how the competitors operate. The more you understand, the more conversation you have around how business works, the more prepared or more equipped you are to actually build that value in what you deliver to the marketplace, right? Okay, so what can you deliver in a paid strategy session? Really simple, right? You can do a blueprint, you can do SEO analysis, you can do a website audit, you can do AdWords audit, you can do Facebook audit, you can do a strategy, a workflow blueprint, you can do a competitor analysis, you can do campaign or project brief. I cannot tell you oftentimes where clients have said, hey, we need to build a new website. So I'll talk about Quinn, one of the agencies that I've worked with. Quinn used to never charge for strategy, right? She never charged for strategy session. She used to build websites, and her websites were pretty amazing. She had a process, she had a great team. She did a lot of conversion elements. She understood marketing. It's very rare to find a design team that understands marketing. She understands marketing intrinsically. So when we first started talking, she was doing all this stuff for free. She would sit down, map it out for the client, give it away, and then the client wouldn't buy a website. And she was selling websites at that stage about $2,500 for a website, right? So switch 12 months after that initial conversation with Quinn, right? She went from selling $2,500 websites to selling $100,000 websites. So no longer did she sell a $2,500 deal. She went from giving away free information to now charging $10,000 for a web blueprint. You have to pay me 10 grand for me to sit down and map out your website. And at the end of that, you're going to pay me between $150,000 and $250,000 for said website. So if you ever want to work with Quinn, it's going to cost you 10 grand up front, right up front. That's what I taught her how to do, is to get paid. And by the way, super busy. But here's the thing, she gets to pick and choose her projects. She's not really scrambling for work right now. She's got more than enough business. In fact, she has a waiting list. She's got a waiting list of people who are paying her the $10,000, right? But she's living a dream, right? Lifestyle business, travels the world. Right now, I'm sure she's stuck in a country somewhere in a pretty exotic location or in a cool location, if I know Quinn. Running her, right, design and development agency, but she charges 10 grand for the blueprint. Now, campaign brief, right? Most people don't realize that you can actually charge people to brief out a project. And what that means is most companies say, hey, John, I need a website. So this is what used to happen to us. We need to build a website. Great. And then my thing is, well, why do you need to build this website? It sounds like a stupid question, right? What spurred you on? Well, you know, we've got to rebrand. We've got to put our message together better. You know, we've got to let people know how good we are at what we do. You know, we just need to clean the thing we've got right now looks ugly, and it really doesn't make us look professional. Right. So then they're thinking, I want to create a beautiful website that looks professional, right? So that some people can come there, see how professional we are, and obviously decide to do business with us. That was what was in the head of that CEO. And I sat there and said, listen, you know, really, at the end of the day, this is your shop front window to the world. You know that, don't you? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, you understand that if you're driving people if you're running campaigns and marketing, you're bringing people to this shopfront window. So what they see here is critical in their decision of whether or not they want to engage you as a provider in the marketplace. So it's something to take into consideration. The second thing you need to take into consideration is, I just want to know, how much money do you think, or how much business do you think you get out of the current crappy website right now? What do you think the current website? Let's guess how much business you think you're getting. And he sat there and said, well, I would say the current crappy website, probably about 5%, 5 to 10% of our business comes from the crappy website. So I asked him, well, what's 5 to 10% of your business? He says about $1.5 million worth of revenue, right? Great. So you've got a crappy website that's making $1.5 million. And now you want to make a pretty website, right? Thinking that you just need a pretty website. You don't need to make it look good. You need to make it look pretty, right? How much are you willing to spend on a website that's going to give you plus $1.5 million? What do you think you need to be investing, right? As a strategy. Do you understand how important it is to get this right? So yeah. So I said, look, this is what we're going to do first. This idea that you just want to build something new, make it look great, make it look effective, and give you branding messaging, that's not going to play with you. What we need to do is scope out a brief so that we understand that this is a moving model. This thing is not going to stand still. You're going to be adding to this thing and growing. So you want to get this platform right. And at the same time, you want to make sure you're connecting this platform to your CRM, connecting this platform through your communication, connecting this platform through sales, all the way through, right? And the guy goes, I never thought about that. That makes so much sense. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to sit down, it's $10,000, to walk through a blueprint of what this is going to look like, the functionality, the reporting, the execution, and the measurability. It's $10,000. Now, your investment in said website, you said, look, 1.5 million. This thing, when we go to build it out properly and do the integrations, is going to cost you above 6 figures. It's going to cost you more than $100,000 to build this thing. So in his head, when we first spoke, he had this idea that, hey, I'm willing to spend about 10, 15 grand on a website. That's where his head was at, right? But because he didn't think this through, we needed to create the brief for the actual website. So it was going to cost him 10 grand for us to sit down and do the analysis, work out what's got to happen, follow the sales process, see where it integrates, and then we're going to share the implementation, right? The website ended up costing $175,000, but we charged for the blueprint, the brief. We charged to create the brief. Now, when we charged the brief, he said, you can take that brief and you can go to somebody else and you can shop it out. We actually told him he could do that. Or we can build this out for you. And he says, no, why would I do that? Straight away, he said, why would I do that? Let's get this built, right? Because his team and him were part of that process, right, in that engagement. So this is why it was very powerful. So these are the things that you can sell, right? So this is how you've got to think about this in terms of selling it, right? Here's our current situation. It's not working for us right now. We want to make it work. So our consulting time, our education, our value proposition, our consulting, and what we do is bridge to the desired outcome. We charge X amount of dollars to go through this process with you, right? At the end of that process, we're going to share with you exactly what needs to happen next so that you're going to get a much stronger representation and result for what you're doing. This is the mapping of that process, right? This is the mapping of that process. Somebody's chit-chatting. We charged $10,000 for the brief, 10 grand. We've charged, I think the most I've ever charged for a brief is about $50,000 for a brief. That was actually for a major project, 50 grand just for the brief. That's not the proposal. That's not the plan, the project, what that entailed. That was just to get very clear about what the execution objective and outcome was. That's what that was about, right? So, and let me tell you, people will pay that kind of money. Now, I know I'm talking big figures, so we're going to bring this down to cheapy figures so we don't scare anybody here, right? So we're going to bring the price down, right? Because you can charge whatever you want, right? You want to charge $100, charge $100. You want to charge $500, charge $500. You want to charge $1,000, charge $1,000. You get to choose, right? But you also need to understand the value that you bring when you're charging. And when people pay, then you'll value what you do. And they're committed. When they pay, they're committed. So this is a really simple service called My Website Audit. It's a website. And what it does a full audit of a website. But the cool thing is it creates a report, an analysis for you that you could charge $1,000, $2,000 for, and it literally maps out, right? A competitive analysis. In fact, these are 3 reports, right? A website audit, a competitive analysis, and a return on investment analysis. 3 different reports, right? That you can put together, right? They look very pretty, right? Piece of software, but this is an example of what you can do, right? This software, just to give you the other perspective, also gives you the slide decks and the pitch decks and the presentations from all the analysis that it does, right? This is an example of what you can charge with value, right? You do have to pay for this. It's not free. I'm not selling this, by the way, but I know that this is a cool way to get paid for your time and expertise on if you're building websites or looking at running campaigns so that people have a better website to run SEO or campaigns from, right? But it creates the slide decks and it does all the presentation for you as part of that process. And you can get paid to do that, right? You get paid to do that. Yep, My Web Audit, that's exactly right. Okay, very simple, right? Super cool software, super cool thing. You can get paid to do this, right? Now, here's the thing. There's this little website called Fiverr, F-I-V, right? RR, Fiverr, right? Fiverr, on this website, there's a whole bunch of people that do things like competitive analysis. Look at this, keyword gap analysis, SEO strategy, complete audit, reporting, and they're charging. Some people are really getting into the full gap critical analysis, $725, right, to do this. Now, I just want to share with you an idea here, right? If you're going to deliver something professionally to somebody and you're going to get the research, you don't have to do the research. You can have somebody else who's already doing this 100 times a day to do all the research for you, develop the presentation, put the bits and pieces together. Because if you're going to be paid for this, and if the client's going to pay you 2, 3, 4 grand, then you can actually put something together that's of real value to the client. But you don't have, shouldn't cost you hours of your time, effort, and work to put it together. You can go to places like this where they literally give it to you for a fairly nominal price, right? There's this thing called an IBP report. There are people on Fiverr that sell this report for $5. It spits out a 79-page dossier on exactly what's going on with your business online. And they're charging you $5 for it. Now, normally the people who have this software, they're charging people a couple of grand to $5 grand for that 79-page report. But here's a company that's spitting it out for $5 a pop, right? You can find it on Fiverr. The next group of people is you can go to Freelancer, right? You can find experts in the field, in the industry, to provide a gap analysis or a structure for things like reporting, competitive analysis, all that sort of stuff in a report structure that you deliver to your client as part of your strategy, right? And then what you want to do is add your pieces to the top. So you can go to places like Upwork, or you can go to places, there are services out there that will do this for you, right? You know, if I was going to go and do $1 million pitch, which I'm actually in the middle of right now, if I was going to do $1 million pitch, I go and hire people like Nancy Duarte's team, right? I would go, you know, they're going to charge me about $3,500 to $4,000 to put that pitch together. It's $1 million pitch, right? It's a teeny tiny amount of money to spend, right, on the prospective outcome of what I'm doing. You know, you can get experts for, you know, 10, 15, $20 an hour, who are really good at what they do. They can create incredible information and reporting for you, right? I was in an accounting firm a little while back, and this is a major accounting firm. This is a big company. And we were talking about this whole idea of strategy, you know, selling strategies in the marketplace. And so I asked the question, right? I'm very curious, and I asked questions like, hey, so, okay, tell me what your process is for selling strategy. So, well, it's really simple. What we do is we do an analysis. We provide analytical, statistical reporting on the process or the business process that needs to be addressed and audited. So to do that, we have a person that we hire outside of our company, right? They work with a company in India. The person that we hire is Harvard trained, right? Harvard trained. They charge us 5,000 USD for the report. And it's very statistical, it's very thorough. It is a 200-page document that is put together over a 6-week period. Now, they put it together within a couple of weeks. We tell the client 6 weeks. It's going to take us 6 weeks, right? And so what we do is we end up delivering the report at 4 weeks. So under promise, over deliver. Nice strategy, right? But here's the thing. It costs them $5 grand. They outsource it, $5 grand. It is very good. They get it bound. It costs them another $200 to get it bound professionally. Get 3 or 4 copies, another grand that they spend on presentation, right? Then they get a presentation together from the report, and then they deliver the report, and they charge the client $50,000. Their cost in that whole thing is $6,000. So their net or their gross profit on that is $44,000 gross profit. $44,000 gross profit, but the value is worth millions of dollars to their client. The value is worth millions of dollars. So to pay 50 grand is a no-brainer, right? That's the thing, okay? So understand that you can outsource this. So here's the process. You got a prospect. You want to do an initial qualifying call. You want to fill out, is this something important, something relevant? You want to discuss this said thing that is important to you right now. Is it lead generation, Facebook, AdWords, marketing? Is it we need to get our digital footprint together, right? Then we sell the strategy session, right? We sell the strategy session. We don't give it for free, right? Say, hey, here's what we do. We normally charge a particular fee to walk people through this process. It's this amount of money. Here's what you're going to get. This is the value in what we're going to deliver. You collect the payment, right? You collect it in advance, right? Then you do your discovery because you need questions answered. So now you're being paid to do the discovery session. Remember, we've got champions right now, Simon, Tracy, they're charging $6,000, $8,000 just to do this bit that is paid up front, right? They just landed the deal that I shared with you a few weeks ago where they landed the client at $180,000, right? That was the client that paid $8,000 for a discovery for a strategy session. They paid $8,000 up front, and then they sold them into a $180,000 solution. And the deposit was $60,000 in the bank account up front from this strategy, right? So they did discovery. They charged for discovery, right? I've charged a lot of money just to do discovery. 25 grand, 50 grand just to do discovery, right? Spend a day talking to all the salespeople, all the marketing people, all the companies that I need to do, find out what's going on, record all those sessions, get it transcribed. There's a report, 25 grand, right? To do discovery. Then you create the report. Then you present it. In your report, you have recommendations, and the recommendations are to work with you. This is what we recommend. We put this package together in alignment with the outcome of the report that we put together, right? So if you want to work with us, then which of these projects would you like to start with first? 1, 2, or 3? Oh, I think we should start with project number 1, right? So your report is a presentation and an offer to the implementation plan. That's how this process works, right? Very, very simple strategy. Very cool strategy, right? So I'm going to show you how you can set this up for yourself. I'm going to walk you through and share with you. I did this just to give you an example, right? This is purely an example. So oftentimes people will say to me, John, I'd love to go and pick your brains. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like my brains being picked, right? I kind of value my time a little bit. So I sit there and say, sure, you can pick my brains, just go over here, and I'll send them somewhere to book a time with me, right? So if you want to pick my brains for an hour, I'm willing to charge you $495 for my brain picking, right? $495 USD. But here's the thing, my brain picking will generate hundreds of thousands of dollars or maybe millions of dollars worth of deals for you. So for $495, it's not a bad deal. I'll record the brain picking session. I'll actually go through clarity, strategy, focus, structure, implementation, give you exactly what you need. Might even go through scripting, sales process, the whole thing. Depends on what we cover in an hour, right? But at the end of that hour, you're going to be super, super clear about what you're going to do, how you're going to make that happen, and go and put yourself into a deal situation, right? So this is what I do, right? This is Calendly. Anybody can do this. You can get Calendly for free, right? And so here's the cool thing. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to show you what it looks like in my calendar, right? So I'm going to go, so this is what happens when you press the button, right? So when you press the button, it's $495 for a strategy session. Their details, I want their phone number because I can call them or get back to them. So which of the following areas do you want my help with? And I just list all the areas that I can help with, right? Lead generation, trade show strategy, targeting, closing a 6-figure client deal right now. So if you've got a deal in the pipeline and you want me to walk you through how to close that deal, like I helped Patrick close that $117,000 deal, right? I'm going to, you're going to ask questions around the thing that you want to work on. That's what this session's about, is what you want, right? So let me help you with that, right? So I ask you some questions. What's the URL? Let's see your website. I ask this question, right? My business is currently growing, or my business has contracted due to the current crisis. Now, I did this, by the way, the other day. So this is just an example. Anybody can copy this, right? So then I go, tell me about your business, right? What does the average client invest in your services, right? What's the lifetime value? If we were to sit down at lunch, what sort of questions might you ask me so that I can help you with those? The thing I want to get to is the most important thing that you need to do to move the business forward right now. So what is the most important thing you need to do right now? And is there anything else that you need that we should think of? And then you've got to pay the money. You can't book the calendar appointment without paying the fee. So it's $495 US. I've just set up in PayPal because I just want to use it as a demonstration. Normally I'd set this up in a different format, and then they schedule the event, and then you're in the calendar. I only ever make 2 or 3 times available. I normally space the appointment within a short period of time, and I only make maybe 4 times max. So that at any one time, if I was offering this for your time, you would only see about 4 options to book at a time. I don't put in 20 options to book sessions with me. I want to just book in 4. I want to make it close. I want to make it tight, right? And so guess what happens? Now, I have done this for years. I've literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling my time, right? But if I don't offer it, nobody can buy it. And whenever somebody says, hey, can I pick your brains? I say, yeah, absolutely, you can pick my brains. Best place to do that is over here, right? So now, are they going to show up for their appointment? Damn straight they're going to show up, right? Have they invested in the process? Yes. Now, I do a money-back guarantee. You're not happy, you don't like the time, then I'm happy to pay you the money back straight away. At the end of the time we have together, I'm going to ask you this question. Are you happy with what you got? Are you okay with what we've delivered? So I get to keep the money? Yes? Great, right? I ask them, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, I shouldn't charge you for that, right? But if you're happy with all the information, now, in the 20 years that I have been actively charging people for my time, not a single person has asked for their money back. So it's a no-brainer proposition, right? Invest in my time, get an outcome, get a result. You're not happy, you shouldn't have to pay, right? But if you are happy, we're going to take the next step, right? And most of the people that pay for this time with me, 80% of them end up working with me, either in Champions or I'm working directly with their agency, right? 80% of the people who go through this process, when I sell my version of this is just an example, when I sell my version of this, will end up working with me in their business. So that just gives you an idea of what it looks like to put this into play for your business. So I'm just going to go and share my screen again, and we're just going to go and get that up there so you can see. So that's a paid strategy session. So this is what happens when you get it right. We got a whole bunch of people who get paid for their time. Will Wayne gets paid 5 figures for his time and his expertise and his knowledge. Always charge. Perry Pappas, $22,000 in strategy sessions, sold them $2,000 belly to belly. What happened with Perry was when he first started with me, he says, John, he was just starting his business, new consultant, fresh out of the gate, never sold anything before in his life. But here are his words that he said to me. He says, John, I cannot afford to do free. I need to be paid from day one. All right. I said, great. You want to be paid from day one? Then you're going to have to ask people to buy from day one. You're not going to do free strategy sessions. You're going to do paid strategy sessions. Sold 11 in a row. It ended up generating $180,000 worth of revenue over a 10-week period to his business. $22,000 paid in advance for a strategy session, right? $2,000 a pop, right? Because he's feeding his family, paying his mortgage. He's got a life. He says, I've got bills, I've got a life. I can't work for free. I don't want to work for free. I will not work for free. Otherwise, there's no point in being in business. And I agreed with him. I said, great. So you, from now on, only charge strategy session. You get paid for the strategy session. It is not free. It is not free, right? You get paid. So I will reiterate this. We're 2 days out. I have actually opened up a few more seats. If you haven't jumped in to the Sales Blitz Intensive, it's happening on the 23rd, 11 a.m., a couple of those time. ConsultingUnleashedLive.com is where you want to grab that ticket. I've opened up a few more seats, and I'm going to close it out before this event, right? We have right now over 1,700 families have been impacted by the ticket sales. So I'm super, super stoked that those of you who have invested in this ticket, thank you for doing so. It is $97. It is a 4-hour masterclass in walking through niching, marketing, offers, campaigns, sales process to close an agreement and get paid up front, show you how to get the thing fulfilled. The deal is that we walk through a plan that gets you 6 clients in 60 days, 1 client every 10 days. That's what you're paying $97 for. But this $97 ticket goes to a great group of causes. 10 families will get a solar lighting for their home who don't have electricity. 5 women are going to get skills training and jobs training for every ticket sold, for independence for their family, and also to support their local communities. And 1 disadvantaged child is going to have their education paid for an entire year of this $97 ticket. For those who have been joining me on these Clarity and Focus sessions, thank you for buying the ticket. Your ticket is going to amazing causes, and you are supporting incredible things out there. So I want to thank you personally. Those who are still interested, haven't bought it yet, I would jump on, because like I said, I will close it out. I've opened up a few more seats for tickets, and we've got a few people jumped in this morning, so I have a few more seats to be taken up. If you know anybody who needs to be there, please send consultingunleashedlive.com to them. You automatically get access to a password protected membership area. There's already some training in that membership area for you to gain access to as a bonus straight away. But we are doing this on Saturday the 23rd, 11 a.m. PST. And we're literally going to go through exactly how to accelerate the process from a sales blitzing point of view. And I'm going to be sharing something really cool at the end of that presentation as well. So with that, I will answer your questions, or basically I guess what I'm really after is, what is your biggest takeaway from today's session? Biggest takeaway from what I've just shared. Because I've literally shown you how all of you can get paid very easily. There's a whole bunch of people on here, which is great to see. Biggest takeaway: Tanya, good to see you here. Tim, good to see you here. Shamil, I will see you very shortly. Sam, nice to have you here. Monique, Martin, Mark, we've got a few of our champions here. Good to see a couple of our champions jumping in. James, Howard, Harry, good to see you here. Eric, the Chris's are here. All the Chris's are here. Anthony, good to see you here. Ariel, nice to have you here. A whole bunch of people on here. Biggest takeaway that you've had from what I've just shared with you. So we've said IBP stands for International Business Process. International Business Program, sorry. International Business Program. Funny name for a report. Get paid for your time. Absolutely. Get paid in advance for your time. 10 strategy sessions is 4 to 70 hours. That's a lot of time. Some idea, yes. You can charge $5 to do strategy call. Absolutely. I'm in your Calendly right now, checking out your questions. Love my Calendly. It's life-changing. Yes. Yes. Right. We need the right marketing to promote it. I don't understand what you mean to say that, Mark. Promoting, it's really simple. This is part of our process. And the first step in our process is we do a paid strategy session. That's how you promote it. Here's what happens in a strategy session. You're going to receive all these things in the strategy session. And at the end of that strategy session, you're going to make a decision on how you move forward. So you're going to be very clear about your objective, very clear about the outcomes. You're going to have a lot of certainty about what you're going to do in the next steps. And you're going to be one step closer to getting those results and outcomes that you're after. So that's what we do in the process. It's a really easy sell. It's not a hard sell. It's an easy sell. George, one of our guys here, I think George is on here. George is here. George sold a strategy session the other day. This is how he got a client last week. Right? George is here, one of our champions. Yeah. So Monique, niche, real estate agents, brokers, some gasp at my price for lead gen. How do I put up this convo? Strategy call, about the strategy call fee, and how can I get them to take me more seriously? Well, Monique, they will only take you seriously if you know your stuff. That's how they take you seriously. If you speak with authority and confidence and you know how to solve a problem they're experiencing, then they will take you seriously. You need to take you seriously first, because nobody can take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously, right? I know that sounds a bit funny, Monique, but here's the thing. How do you sell it? You've got to say, hey, right now, this is what we do. Here's a blueprint that we have to get the outcome you're looking for. So let me show you how you're going to get conversions on Facebook. To go through that blueprint, we charge people $200 or $250. At the end of the blueprint, you can take my blueprint away, Monique, right? Do it yourself, or I can show you how we can work together and implement and execute on that outcome. Do you want to take the blueprint? Simple sale, right? When people gasp that the money's too much, they haven't understood the value, or you have not articulated the value to the client. They will only gasp at the money if you haven't actually explained the true value to the customer. Because if they understand the true value, they won't gasp at the price, right? Nobody gasped at a $15,000 strategy session for Tina. In fact, they thought it was too cheap. They thought a $15,000 strategy session was too cheap. They didn't gasp, because they saw the value that Tina was delivering for that $15,000. They went, no brainer, we need to do this, right? So that's the thing. It's more about how you value yourself. It's not about how the client values you. The client will value you when you value yourself. That's when the client will value you. You say, hey, for my time, for this thing, this is what we do, right? This is how you make the investment, right? A guy called Tony Mailer does this strategy brilliantly. He sells a $10,000 strategy session. It takes him half an hour to sell the $10,000 strategy session. From the $10,000 strategy session, you get a $100,000 engagement. But here's the thing, you need to hire him for 3 years. So it's going to cost you $300,000 to hire him. But he sells you a strategy session for 10 grand. It takes him half an hour to do it. Here it is. Say, right, this is the problem, this is the structure. He sells productivity and effective productivity and systems management. That's what he does, right? How do you get effective, productive, making sure that each area of your business or business functions are working at its optimum, right? So he has a really cool demonstration. He walks you through for half an hour, right? And you're sitting there going, he shows you, he demonstrates from your business point of view, just by answering a few questions, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you could be saving in costs by getting it right, by being more effective. Not efficient, by being effective. Effective meaning much stronger result, right? So whether it be from marketing, whether it be from looking at restructuring how the business works, all those sorts of things. So I'm sitting there, right? The reason I know this work is because I bought it, right? I paid Tony hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually make millions of dollars in sales and revenue, right? It was a no-brainer, right? Because he literally sat there and said, hey, look, is it worth this 10 grand to actually pull the structure together and make sure you're seeing exactly what you need to do? Is it worth that? Based on what we've just discovered in this half an hour, is it worth spending 10 grand? I said, Tony, it's a no-brainer. Of course it's worth 10 grand, right? Great, so we do the 10 grand thing. Then at the end of the 10 grand, he literally walks you through and says, hey, based on what we've discovered here, right, this is where your revenue opportunity is. And it was like $1.5 million. So the question was, is it worth investing $100,000 to generate $1.5 million? That's roughly $140,000 or $125,000 a month. 125 cash in a month in my pocket. Worth 100 grand? No brainer. And here's the question. He used my own strategies against me to get him to buy, right? To get me to buy. He used the strategy of, hey, how important is it for you to chase that 1.5 million? Where do you think that money should be? Your bank account or its cost? What do you want? What should be my bank account? No brainer, right? Yeah. If it was half that, it was $600,000, you'd still chase it? Yep. What if it was a quarter of that, John? 100 grand down, $300,000 back. What is a quarter? Worth chasing? Yeah, no brainer, right? So are we doing this? Yep, we're doing this, right? It was the easiest sales pitch on the planet because he shared the value proposition. Because I sat there and said, okay, that's $1.5 million this year, right? 1 year. But over the next 3 years, that was $4.5 million. I'm going to pay $100,000 for a system that's going to give me $4.5 million. I'm in. No brainer, right? So was it worth spending 10 grand? Absolutely. Was it worth hiring Tony for 3 years to be in my business, to guide, to put that process into place? Absolutely. Build a $30 million company, right? So maybe biting off more than I can chew trying to pitch this via email. Yeah, you can't pitch it on an email, right? You have to have a conversation. Yeah, you can't, unless you put, then, but the other thing is you want to have a landing page. You want to promote this, right? So I'm only showing you a small piece of the puzzle here, right? The way I would do it professionally, the way I do it is we have a landing page. That landing page has a video on it. It explains exactly what you're going to get for your money, right? Then from there, when you hit the submit button, it takes you to another page with a video that says, hey, thanks for doing this. By the way, I want to be very clear about what you're getting here and what I need to do in next steps, right? So there is value that's built into this process, right? The questions are basic questions, but it takes them further into the process. This is why, $495 is just a chit chat, right? Where we would do it would be at that 5 to 10 grand mark. Right, so it has actually some structure, some pieces into it. But try to sell this off an email with no relationship, and they don't know who you are, and they don't know what the value is. Then of course they're not going to buy from you, Lamar. But if you sell this direct, I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people say, and just incidental conversations about their business, and they go, "Yeah, no, we need to do something." So, well, great. Look, here's the easy thing to do. This is what we do. We put this out, put this structure into place. Now, if you don't like it, it doesn't cost you anything. Do you want to do it? And like 80% of the people that I speak to will go, yep, let's do that. It's not a hard sell. It is a sell that makes sense. Most people know, people who value this, most people know they've got to pay or invest in quality advice, right? They don't question about sitting down with their accountant. They don't question about a lawyer. They're not questioning those prices. They pay it because that's what they do. That's how they make their money, right? You're an expert in what you do. People should be paying you for your expertise. How much more do you know that the market doesn't know? Anthony, question on strategy. I'm targeting the franchise sector here in Australia. Yep, awesome. I understand the challenge is generating high quality leads who are financially qualified and predisposed to investing in their franchise opportunity. Yep. What would be the best offer right now? No, omni-retargeting would not be the best offer. What the best offer is building a system that filters those leads. For me, Anthony, what I would do for those guys, I would do a pay-per-lead model. I would not do a pay-for-service model. You'll actually make a lot more money doing pay-per-lead. I'll give you an example. One of our guys charged $75,000 to rent the funnel to a franchise group. They pay $13,000 a month for pay-per-lead model. Their profit on that is $8,000 out of 13 grand a month is their profit. So the client is worth $84,000 $84,000 $92,000 a year in profit out of one client doing a pay-per-lead model, and they're renting a funnel for $75,000. So doing omni-retargeting isn't going to cut it. Filtering, giving them what they want, Anthony, that's the key. Who's the target audience? I would sell the strategy first, not sell the result. Sell the strategy first. Because you know what the problem is? The problem is that unless you've got a system right now, Anthony, is proven that is getting the result and getting the numbers. If you've got a system like that, then I would lead in with that, right? But if you don't have the system up and running right now, where you can sit there and say, hey, we generated 1,000 leads and 50 of these turn into a franchise that spend $250,000. If you don't have that system up in place, then selling a plugin like Facebook or omni-targeting or AdWords, right, is not going to help the client. The client's looking for a result, and you understand what they need. And what you want to do is you walk them through what they need. So to me, they should be paying you for strategy first, right? And let me tell you, if you position it, Anthony, they will pay you. They will pay you. Yeah. So yeah, of course, they've been burnt by agents in the past because they did exactly what I just said not to do. Right? They went in there saying, hey, we can all do this, but their strategy was wrong. They really didn't understand the market. The client probably didn't follow up effectively. So yeah, of course, most franchises have been burnt in the marketplace because most people have done a terrible job servicing them. But I know franchises that have not been burnt are working with amazing agencies that are freaking making them millions and millions of dollars, right? Doing this. So I know that it does work. I know that agencies are looking for people who know what they're talking about, who can walk them through the solution. And by the way, for those of you listening, franchise groups are a fantastic group to go after, right? What I would do is we do it in physical therapy, right? We go after franchise groups. We actually bring on 3 or 4 of the franchises, get them amazing results. And then we go to the head company and say, listen, we've built this system. It works for your guys. It's making money. Maybe we should be distributing it through the entire network. That deal that I just showed you at the very beginning with Patrick, that $117,000, that's exactly how that deal worked. Yeah, that process worked. That was into a franchising group. So to answer your question, Anthony, my strategy or my offer would be to do a strategy session to actually nut out exactly the process, the outcomes, and making sure that you're very clear about the path and the journey that the client actually takes to get a qualified customer. And a lot of franchises probably haven't even gone through that process, Anthony. So I would sell strategy first, and then I would look at what the implementation or the options are after it. What you're asking is doing it back to front. Hey, let's just plug this in because it'll get you leads, right? No. Let's get something that actually is going to work. Let's zero in. Let's invest the time, the energy, the effort, making sure that you're investing the right amount of money on this system, and let's tweak it and operate it and make it actually functional and work for you. That's what you want. If you go and have that conversation, Anthony, the client's going to sit down and go, yeah, let's do that, right? So the first step in the process is let's map it out. Lisa Cho, one of our consulting champions, did this exact thing, went out there, looked at a system that actually worked, mapped the entire process out, downloaded all the components, sat there, stepped this out in a process with a franchise group and said, great, let's build this for you, right? Charge the company $80,000 to build the system. Then the company had to invest $15,000 a month to run the system, right? So that way, but they had to pay, right? They didn't do this for free, yeah? So hopefully that answers your questions, Anthony. Got to think a little bit bigger, got to think a little bit more strategic. You're right, people have been burned. So you want to eliminate that fear with the client, and the way to eliminate fear is to actually structure a proper plan that is relevant to that client. And at the end of that, if they like the plan, they're going to hire you. You're going to make the money. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. Any other questions? Happy to help you with any questions. Anthony, was that helpful, Anthony? Just type in if that was helpful. Awesome. So any other questions? I'm happy to take another question. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you for being here. Okay, Howard, what's your question? Type it in. Do you always offer a money back guarantee? No, I don't. I just use that as an example, right? If you want to make a no-brainer for people to buy, just say, listen, if you're not happy with it, I'll give you money back. So put the money down and your money's safe, right? So that way you can use a risk reversal. I don't always offer the money back. I don't normally offer that guarantee and say, this is what we charge for this service. There's no money back. I'm just using that as a strategy, an example for people who are scared to ask people for money. Say, hey, let's make it risk-free, right? Let's make it risk-free, yeah, and that way you're covered. And then they're more likely to go, yeah, I'll do that, right? If a client needs a service we don't fulfill, do we sub it out to recommend a person? No, Howard, if a client needs a service you don't fulfill, then you're obviously talking to the client about the wrong thing. You're there to help the client with what you do first and foremost. If they need something else, then I would build a relationship with somebody, referral partner, and go, listen, I'm going to bring you this deal. I'm going to introduce this guy, and you're going to set up the deal for them, and then you'll get a percentage of the deal. You can do that, right? But first thing that I would do, my primary objective, Howard, is to sell what I sell, not sell what somebody else sells, if that makes any sense. Yeah. If a client needs something else and you can't deliver that, then go and find somebody who delivers that at an outstanding level and say, hey, I'm going to walk you to a client. How much do I get for the deal? I've done that many times. Thanks for, Eric says, thanks for not charging $495 for these daily strategy sessions. They're worth way more. Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate you saying that. That's hilarious. So yes, absolutely. Any other questions? Brian, do you ever offer a credit for the strategy session towards upsell invitation? Yeah, that's a nice statement, Brian. Yeah, you can do that. You can use the strategy session and say, hey, if you like what we've done and you move forward, we're going to put that towards your initial setup fee towards the program. So yes, you can use that. That's a great little hook to say, hey, if you like us, then you can put that towards a deposit on your initial setup fee. So, you know, if you're charging $2,000, your setup fee is $5,000. So instead of $5,000, they're going to pay $3,000 the difference, right? So $2,000 goes towards a setup fee. Yeah, it's done in campaign. Or you can say, hey, the $2,000 includes the setup fee. You can do it that way. So yes, Brian, you can use your strategy fee to incentivize a purchase, to use it as part of purchase. So, and there's a lot of value in that too. How much is a reasonable for a referral? Depending on how much work you do, I would say 5% of the deal would be a fair fee if you just referred the customer. If you were part of setting up the appointment and setting up the time and getting that person in that part of the process, I'd probably take about 10% of the deal. But here's the thing, Chris, I wouldn't ask for the percentage. I would ask them, how much will you pay me if you land this deal? And they might say, I'll pay you 20%. Great, I'll take 20%, right? The minimum that I would take would be 5%, the minimum I would take, but it just depends on the introduction. You know, it depends on how I position it. Like just saying, hey, they need somebody and I give them a name, they don't deserve a commission for that, right? But if I actually set that introduction up and they go and manage to close that deal, then yeah, I should get the deal. Or alternatively, what I do is I'll close the deal and then go and sell the deal. I've done that. I've made more money doing that. In fact, one of our champions, that's exactly what he does. He goes and gets the deal and then sells the deal and keeps 50% of the deal, which is fantastic, right? So he makes a sale and then goes to somebody and says, how much you want to buy this for? This is what I'm going to sell it to you for. Can you do it? Yep, great. And sells the deal. Brokers a deal. That's a whole business unto itself. Different business model. Know a copywriter that charges $10K for a consult. He'll apply it if he decides to use it. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. We paid one of the world's best copywriters, one of the copywriters that every other copywriter learns from. He's the granddaddy of direct response marketing, Dan Kennedy. We paid him $40,000 for chit chat, 40 grand. And then we ended up paying another $100,000 for a sales page. Or a sales letter, actually, 100 grand. Yeah. So, yeah, it was worth it, by the way. It was fantastic. So yeah, so anybody, you know, at the end of the day, the copywriter knows their worth. Yeah, 10K copywriter knows their value, right? Knows their value. Any other questions? Happy to answer any questions. If you haven't already, go to consultingunleashedlive.com and go and grab yourself a ticket. Those tickets will close. I know a lot of people here have themselves a ticket, which is great. Do you use any mapping software in the strategy session? Fancy, yes, I do, but it's a proprietary software. You can do things like, you can use things like Lucid Chart, even funnel maps. Funnel I think funnelytics and funnel mapping or funnel maps. You can use a funnel map to actually map out process and strategy and put in structure. Yeah, I use a mapping software that we have proprietary access to. It's not something that anybody can just buy. But yes, I do use that, and it's very, very good because the client then has a visualization of what the process looks like. So that's a very cool way to do that, Chris. Yes, absolutely. But there's lots of, Lucid Charts is probably one of the best softwares you can use for that sort of stuff. There's lots of funnel type software that can map out process and things. They can do that. Yeah. Monique says, yeah, I like Lucid Chart. Yeah, I think it's like $10, $10 a month or something. It's pretty cheap. My Meester is another one. That's another one to use. There's plenty off there. Just Google My Maps. There's plenty of software out there. A lot of our champions use My Maps to sell their strategy, sell their services. You should be using mind mapping software to map stuff out because people can see in diagram. Diagrams are a very, very clever way to improve your conversions when you can map things out for people, because then they have a picture, they take a visual engagement. So to give an example, we have one of our champions, Steve, who he works with companies that develop homes that are $1 million plus. Now, here's a Facebook ad strategy that will sell $6 million of homes within a 3-month period. So every 3 months, this system punches out $6 million in home sales, right? So it's a great system. But the actual structure, he set it up in Keep, which used to be Infusionsoft. He set up in Keep. So the whole structure, the whole mapping of that whole process, every campaign, every connection, all that sort of stuff was set up inside of Keep, right? And it had like 160 elements. And so here's how he used to sell it. He used to say, listen, this system here spits out $6 million every 90 days guaranteed. We've been using this system for the last 3 years, and without fail, 6 million plus every 90 days using system. So it shows them the mind map of everything set up, right? How it works, what the process is, what the structure is, what the workflow is. And he just shows them that. And every person he shows that to says, we want that. That's what we want, right? The diagram in itself explains the process. They don't need to go through creating this report and functionality. He would just sit there, do a slide presentation. I think the slide was like 17 slides, but the one slide that everybody just goes and salivates over is the mind map, right? Because it says right now, this is a system process. This system spits out $6 million in revenue every 90 days. You want it? Here's what's going to cost you to get it. So to get the $6 million system, to access it, you don't own it, you rent it, right? You have to rent it off him. To rent it, the setup fee is for the first package, $35,000 setup fee. Then you're in for $22,000 worth of ad spend and $11,000 worth of management. So it's a big agreement. His big package is $150,000 for setup, for integration and setup. This is rental. You don't get to own it. You rent it. $150,000 setup, right? You need to throw in $100,000 a month in advertising, and your management fee is, I think it's $35,000 for management fee for the whole system. But so when you think about that, $100,000, so $35,000 over a year, $350,000. $400,000. So $500,000, and then you've got to throw $100,000 of ad spend over a year. So $1.7 million. $1.7 million is going to make you $24 million a year, right? $1.7 million is the deal. That's how much you're going to be in for, including ad spend. But it's going to make you $24 million in sales. So how many companies do you think say, hell yeah, let's do this? Nearly everybody he talks to. As soon as he shows them a system, they buy it. They go, yeah, we want this. Yeah. So yes. Any other questions? Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you for being here. No? It's all good? Awesome. So if you haven't gone there already, the strategy sessions anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes max. 45 minutes to 90 minutes is about the average. Yeah. On average, it's about an hour, 60 minutes, 1 hour, right, to do that. But it's not the time, Chris. It's not the time. It's the value in the delivery of the strategy. Yeah. It's the value of what they're going to get out of what they're seeing. It's going to give them clarity. It's going to give them a sense of certainty and confidence moving forward. It's going to be able to answer all their questions, right? And at the end of the day, this is their plan. And if it's their plan then the only alternative is if they say no, they're saying no to the very thing that they want. So what this does is it actually helps you to convert sales better. Because at the end of that, saying, great, well, let's do this. Now I talked about I talked about Simon with that $180,000 deal, right? So they did the $8,000 conversation right up front, right? And then from there, it's like, well, okay, they're literally pressing the consultant. They press Simon and say, okay, Simon, let's do this, right? Let's do this. And so from the time of the initial engagement to sell the strategy session to the closing of a $180,000 deal was about 4 weeks. Kind of what happened to Patrick. On the 20th of April, that was when the process started, then back and forth for 4 weeks to close a $117,000 deal. Well, that's not bad for 4 weeks' work. And he didn't spend 4 weeks doing the work. He was spending an hour here, an hour there, right? But the beauty of what Patrick did, he's opened himself up to $500,000 worth of revenue for the year, because just with this one project, I know that the results are going to be there, this is going to work, then they'd be stupid to stop it. So they're just going to keep paying. Yeah. They're just going to keep paying. So yeah. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer one more question. Otherwise I'm going to say thank you for being here. Is an NDA needed for strategy session? No, you can use one, but it's not needed. You can use one. Yeah. If you offer it, then offer it. Yeah. NDA is just a one pager. So yeah, is it needed? No, but can you use it? Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Any other questions? I'm happy to take one more question. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you at consultingunleashedlive.com. This has been great. Thank you. Hope you got something out of this. Who here is going to go and set up their Calendly to go and get paid? Just type in one if you're going to do that. That's the first thing I would do. Who's going to go and set up Calendly and set up a payment button to get paid for your time right now? We've got a few people saying, yeah. Right, Shamil Rodriguez, one's right across the board. Wow, only 4 people out of so many people, yeah? Every single person can set up for yourself to be paid right now. Right? Howard says, I did that 3 weeks ago. Awesome, Howard. Right, now you want to sell people into it, yeah? So that really, what I'm sharing with you in this getting paid for strategy or getting paid for your time is actually the first sale you want to make. It values your time. The client puts some money in. They're committed. They're going to show up. They're going to listen. They're part of the process. You're building rapport and relationship with the client when you go through this process. And ultimately, you'll dramatically improve your conversion rates. This one thing that I've shared with you today will be a game changer for you. Yeah, offer to sell critiques. Absolutely. Do sell audits. You know, rather than doing free audits, sell the audit. Do a proper audit and sell it. People will pay $5,000 for it. We've got champions right now where people are giving away free audits. They're charging, their minimum charge is $3,000 to $5,000 on SEO audit. And they get that. People pay that. And get this, when they buy the audit, the conversion rate to a sale is 100%. But most people are giving away free SEO audits, right? Just free. And I guarantee you the client doesn't understand what you're giving them when you give away a free audit. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Go to consultingunleashedlive.com. If you want to see the video, go to the YouTube channel. If you go to consultingunleashed.com/go, G-O, you'll be able to get access to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to get access to the Consulting Unleashed Facebook group. You'll be able to get access to some training there that is free. So you'll be able to get access. I'm actually putting these videos up in YouTube and in the private Facebook group. There's also other cool stuff that we're going to do in the private Facebook group as well at Consulting Unleashed. So if you go to consultingunleashed.com/go, G-O, then you can get all the resources and get all these trainings. If you are wanting to come to the live event, like I said, I've opened up a few more tickets. You go to consultingunleashedlive.com, grab your ticket, $97. It is a ticket for good. You're going to do lots of, you're going to be supporting some amazing causes with that ticket. And you're going to get some pretty cool stuff, amazing strategies, tactics in the sales process. I'm going to show you how to literally walk yourself into sales if you follow my ideas and tactics and strategies. And if you've been watching these trainings and seeing all the results we've been having from people from the trainings, you know the stuff that I'm sharing with you does work. So with that, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for those who've already purchased a ticket at consultingunleashedlive.com. Those of you who haven't yet, please grab a ticket because I will shut it down. And I'm really looking forward to Saturday. Hope the fee is good if the live is coming from AU. Yes, the fee will be good. I will have super internet, high-speed internet. So yes, Brian, if it's not, it'll be all double recorded, so you'll have high-quality recording of all the information. So yes. So with that, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. I'm still doing these sessions. I'm actually going to be taking my weekends back, so I'm going to be doing them 5 days a week. So I'm going to do them from Sunday to Thursday, which is from Monday, my Monday. So from Sunday to Thursday or Monday to Friday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 8 a.m., 3 p.m. Pacific Time. These sessions 5 days a week. I'm going to take back my weekends because I think I need to spend a little bit more time having some me time. So I figure 5 days with me on strategy tactics is going to be sharing some cool stuff. So I will be here same time, same bat channel on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In fact, no, I'm not going to be there on Sunday because we're going to be doing my time. I'm going to be doing the actual intensive. So no. So this Sunday, you're going to miss out. So you're going to have to wait till Monday. So with that, thank you. Keep an eye on the Facebook post. We are posting these sessions in the Facebook, so you know when they're on. But thank you for being here as part of this series. If you want to know more, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can go back to. If you want to speak to me, you can always go to calljohnlogar.com and grab some time with me, as I'm about to spend some time with Shamil, who booked some time with me in a short amount of time. So thank you, Shamil. Good to have you here. With that, I will see you at the Consulting Unleashed Live Sales Blitz Intensive this Saturday, the 23rd of May at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I believe it's 4 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for our Aussies. We have to get up early. I know I'm going to get up early with you. And so we are going to have some fun, literally going through an intensive process of blitzing sales. The goal is to get 6 new clients within a 60-day period. That's the goal. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what you got to do to get that. I'm going to show you where to find the clients, really easy. I'm going to show you how to get people who qualify from a revenue point of view. I'm going to show you how to extract personal email and get them verified. I'm going to literally show you how to do that. So there's no shortage of leads. I'm going to walk through high value, high volume niche markets right now that desperately want your services. I'm going to show you how to get into those markets. I'm going to walk you through my 5-step sales process, how you close, how you let the client literally walk themselves into a deal. They're going to walk you through a close with the agreement and the payment. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like so you can get payment on the spot. And then I'm going to show you how to get fulfillment, but more importantly, institute and implement a plan. So with that, I want to thank you for being here. Jump on to consultingunleashedlive.com if you haven't grabbed a ticket. If you have, I will see you on Saturday morning or Sunday morning if you're in Australia for that session. Thanks again, everybody. I look forward to seeing you then. Take care.